Alright, what's up ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else, and I am bringing you my updated Magplar build for the Elsweyr patch. Now, a lot has changed with this build. We are running a new armor set, we are running some new skills, we got rid of our vampire. So, we're going to dive into this build, we're going to discuss all the changes we made as we get to them. I'm going to try and be as all-inclusive as possible. In general, guys, Magplar feels really good this patch. In the past, it's felt kind of clunky sometimes, especially when it's laggy. It feels a lot smoother, feels a lot more fun to play. And honestly, it's a lot stronger. Like this build, this patch is a lot stronger than the build last patch. We just hit a lot harder, and we are harder to kill. So, and we have really good sustain. So, with that being said, guys, let's dive into the build. First of all, these are stats on our back bar unbuffed. We're at 45,861 Magicka, 978 Magicka recovery. It looks low, but with our skills that we're running, we're going to have no problems with sustain. 18k health. In PvP, we're around 25k. 24k without the scrolls. So yeah, 26k health with the scrolls. 16k maximum stamina, 1900 spell damage, 29% spell crit. We are also running Major Prophecy, so we will jump up to 40% spell crit with that. Our spell resistance and physical resistance buffed are at 31,440, 24,675, and we're at a nice 3,300 critical resistance. 64 points into Magicka. This is a Breton, High Elf, Argonian, Dark Elf. They're all good. You may need to adjust your recovery a little bit because Breton sustain is fantastic, but yeah, I am currently a Breton. I think it's great. Tri-stat food, Mage Mundus. We are no longer a vampire for two reasons. The Molten Whip change for, first of all, Molten Whip change for Mag DKs, in my opinion, make running a vampire Magplar very, very tricky. Basically the Molten Whip change almost doubles your damage on one whip when you stack it. And so because Molten Whip can hit very, very hard, taking a lot more fire damage is not a good thing. It'll put you on the defensive a lot. You won't be able to go on the offensive as well as a vampire, as a non-vampire. On top of that, they added a skill that gets rid of snare removal. So you do no longer need to be a vamp for this. You no longer need to be a vamp and use mist form for the snare removal. You can use this other skill that works very, very well and does a bunch of other very nice things. Our front bar for this build, we're at 45k Magicka, 1900 spell damage. Our spell damage is low. Our max Magicka is very, very high. So our damage is a combination of both. We hit very hard with this build, guys. We have very high pen. We have 40% crit. We are running minor force. And our power of the lights hit hard as shit. We are very bursty. This is one of the more bursty builds I've ever run on a Magplar. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Our healing is fantastic. It is a good setup. As far as our skills go, guys, we're going to dive into it here. We are running Puncturing Sweep. This is our spammable. The cast time doesn't feel as clunky. That's another nice change for the Elsweyr patch for the Magplar. It didn't look like much on paper. It is very nice when you actually use it. So, awesome. Our gap closer is Toppling Charge. Toppling Charge got a huge change this patch. All of the gap closers got a change this patch to where they no longer have a minimum distance required to close on somebody. So you can be on top of somebody and use Toppling Charge to hit them. On top of that, Toppling Charge also, when you stun them, you set them off balance for 5 seconds. Off balance can be stacked in the CP tree to give you 10% more damage. So after you Toppling Charge, you CC them with no minimum distance needed. And we'll go try and find an ad here to show that. And then you do 10% more damage afterwards for 5 seconds. So it's a nice skill that also buffs our other skills. So we're not going to open that portal there. We're going to try and find just a little somebody to go smack really quick. There we go. We got a little fox. So we can be on top of him. Oh, he's going to run away. And we can gap close and we can hit him. So Obviously, our damage is so good, we just knocked that fox out in one hit. So yeah, once again, proving we have great damage with this build. We are also running Purifying Light. This is going to be a lot of our burst. Look at the maximum copy damage, guys, 26,928. Our Purifying Light scales up for our max magicka. Having high max magicka helps with our burst. Running this the way we have it, we're very bursty with this build for that reason. We're running Elemental Drain. This is going to give us our Major Breach, reducing target's armor resistance, giving us more pen. On top of that, it gives us Minor Magicka Steal, which is 300 magicka every second while we're damaging them. Turns out to roughly 600 magicka recovery. So with this build, we're around 1,578 recovery so far, as long as we apply Ele Drain and hit with our dots. Speaking of dots, we are running Reflective Light. This is a very nice skill. It hits up to 3 enemies. It also provides Major Prophecy, increasing your spell critical rating by 2191. So this is how we're going to get our 40% critical rating. Yes, it slows people down. We also have Major Expedition. This is how we're going to stay on top of people. As a Magplar, we are fast this patch. We are fast as a Magplar, guys. It's awesome. And our ultimate that we're using is Crescent Sweep. It's cheap. It hits hard as shit. It coincides very well with our burst combo. It stacks with the Purifying Light. It is a great, great ultimate, guys. 8323 magic damage. On top of that, enemies in your path will be hit for 60% more damage. So anybody in front of you takes 60% more. So that's roughly 500 more damage. We have a 13 to 1400 tooltip. 14,000 tooltip with this skill on top of the dot that we are providing with it. So it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it is very nice burst and it goes off really quickly. So no longer will we be stuck in a channel using an ultimate. You can use Soul Assault. Absolutely, you can use Meteor. Meteor would be great as well. I like the cheap ultimate because it helps for 1vxing. On our back bar, Extended Ritual. This is the way you want to go for Magplars, guys. Like, the more harmful effects we can remove, the better. When you think about it, as an example, our Vampire's Bane is 2 harmful effects. Not only is it a damage over time effect, it's also a snare. So if you use the other Purify that removes 3 negative effects, you're removing 2 off of 1 skill. Magicka DK Talons are 2. Not only is it immobilization, it's a damage over time effect, or it's minor maim. Those are 2 negative effects. So you want to remove more than have damage with the skill. We'll have plenty of damage. We don't need it. You want to remove the 5 harmful effects. Trust me. In our rune, we're also running Honor the Dead. This is a great skill. This is going to be our heal. Healing anyone who is below 75% health restores 60% of the ability's cost over 6 seconds as magicka. So this is going to be part of our sustain. This is a solo build. You can run in a duo, absolutely, or a trio. If you're running in a bigger group, I absolutely recommend adding more sustain so that you can hit Breath of Life more and switch to Breath of Life. But as a solo player, Honor the Dead is the better way to go. Our Honor the Dead tooltips in PvP are fantastic. Without a continuous, guys, our Honor the Deads are just under 15k. We're at around 14,800 if I remember correctly. We heal a lot with this build, guys. I have hit 15k Honor the Deads already. It's awesome. So that also builds into our sustain. Because our damage is so high, we don't have to hit Breath of Life as much or Honor the Dead as much when we're on the defensive. We're also running Race Against Time. Now this is the skill that got changed for the Elsweyr patch, guys. It is a great, great skill, and it is my hope that there are more skills in PvP like this in the future. I don't like overloaded damage skills that do a bunch of things. I like overloaded support skills. And so skills that support your build and do a bunch of different things I think are very useful. This is just a nice change of life, a quality of life change for PvP. You have to get this doing the Somerset Sigic skill line. You have to go up to 5. It takes 2-3 hours to do. It's totally worth doing. This skill gives you Major Expedition, Minor Force, and it removes immobilizations and snares for 2 seconds. So this skill is very nice. It makes us fast. And when we crit 10% harder. And so it makes us more bursty. And on top of that, when we get snared in place, we can remove the snare. And you can see it's not that expensive. Because we're a Breton, it's actually pretty damn cheap. So this is what makes us fast. This is what allows us to move around the battlefield. This is why we do not need Vampire. Race Against Time is a better skill than Mistform. I said it. Channeled Focus. Major Resolve and Major Reward. increasing our physical and spell resistance by 5280. So this is going to make us more tanky. Standing within the rune, you also gain 240 magicka every 1 second, which turns out to 480 magicka recovery. So, for those of you guys writing this all down at home, we got 970 unbuffed recovery. We get 600 with Elemental Drain. We get 480 with this. That turns out to about 2,000 recovery as long as we are smart and stay in our rune and use Elemental Drain. So our sustain should be fine with a Breton with this much magicka, with this much sustain. So we have no problem sustaining with this little recovery, guys. On top of that, we're running Harness Magicka with this build. Now, the reason I went with Harness Magicka, and this used to be Entropy, is a few reasons. Mistform was not only great for kiting and removing snares and getting to spots that we needed to, it was also great for damage mitigation. So if you got a meteor dropped on you, or if you were just getting hit really hard, you could reset the fight and get behind something and then heal back to full. So that's why Mistform was fantastic. We no longer have that. And so our choices were to block, in my opinion, there are 3 choices. We could block cast more, and so we would have to put points into cost reduction, or maybe change our enchants and lose out on damage. We could run Meditate, which is another Psijic skill, which gives us recovery and gives us major protection while we're in it, which also stacks with one of our armor sets that we're running. Or we run Harness Magicka. And honestly, guys, wards are one of the strongest things in PvP right now. They make you so tanky with our resistances, with our damage mitigation that we have with this build. We are very tanky with Harness Magicka. And as those of you guys that are running Magicka classes know, if you have ever dueled a Magicka class with no Magicka recovery, and you run Harness Magicka, you will know you never run out of Magicka with Harness. This pays for itself. It makes you more tanky, and so this allows us to not always have to block cast. We can block cast with this build. We have a lot of Magicka, or max stamina. We're running Sword and Ward on the back bar, so we can be very tanky in a typical Magplar way. But on top of that, we also have a very nice ward that is very hard to get through. So we can use this not only for our sustain, but we can use this to go on the offensive. So we can stick our ward down, and we can jump into hairier situations that we have in the past, toppling charge in and hit our sweeps, and it's going to be tougher for people to burst through our wards and our health pool. And so that allows us to finish kills even faster, in my opinion. So Harness Magic is fantastic. As far as our back bar ultimate, I'm going back and forth between 2. Running Undo on the back bar, which I still have to get in Morph, or running Spell Wall, which I am currently attempting to morph. I'm currently running Spell Wall because I want to try it out. It reflects all projectiles. It's a little bit cheaper. This will be our get out of dodge situation. So what will happen is if we run across like 20 people, we'll pop this, we'll pop our shield ult, and we will sprint, and we will be gone. And we will reflect all incoming projectiles, and that allows us to get out, get some line of sight. Because we're now fast, we can now fight people as they come to us. So another nice benefit of these changes. So if you guys don't want shield wall, you can absolutely run Undo. It'll make you more tanky on your back bar. You can also cast the ultimate and go back in time, which is also very, very nice. As far as our gear we're running, guys, we're going to jump into our consumables first. We're running tri-stat food. We want as much max stats as possible. That's what we're running. It's nice food. As far as our potions we're running these Essence of Detection pots. We already get Major Prophecy from our Vampire's Bane, so we do not need to run those pots. You can run the Alliance Drought pots. Those are fine. If you guys have the gold, I absolutely recommend running these. Increase your stealth detection by 20 meters for 15 seconds. You get our major sorcery buff. We also restore Magicka. So these are what I'm going to be using most of the time. I like rooting out bad Nightblades that try to snipe you. Snipe is just a bad, frustrating skill in this game. And so now that we have movement speed and we see if we see a Nightblade at distance about ready to wind up a snipe on us, we can close in with our major expedition. We can toppling charge on top of them. They can no longer cloak and get away for 15 seconds, and we will finish them really, really easily with this build, guys, because we hit hard as shit. So these are my main pots. In bigger outnumbered fights, I run tripods now. I used to run immovables because I needed that extra time. With Harness Magicka, I no longer need that time of immovability. So I get CC'd, I can now pop this, I can go in, I have 6 seconds, and now my stat pools are higher. That's why we went to tripods instead. I think it's a better changes patch, especially if we have to run or kite around, you know, if we're trying to get away from a bigger group, which, you know, we couldn't do in the past with Mistform. Also running invisibility pots. If you run across a large group, pop one of these. They won't be able to find you. You can reset the fight and find something more manageable. Obviously, you can run immovable pots. They are useful, but I like tripods a little bit better. As far as our gear goes, guys, our first set we're running is 5-piece Cyrodiil's Light, jewelry and body. We are running 2 spell damage and 1 recovery. Honestly, I think you can go 3 spell damage. I just wanted to add that little bit of sustain. I think 3 recovery is more than fine. We're running defending with an impenetrable shield with a max magicka buff. We're running a sharpened lightning staff on the front bar. Now, why are we running Cyrodiil's Light? Well, 2, 3, and 4 piece is fantastic. 2-piece spell damage, 3-piece max magicka, 4-piece max magicka, all damage for our sets. Max magicka is great for a Templar because, like I said before, it buffs our purifying light overall dot tick, making us more bursty. And the 5-piece, while you're casting or channeling an ability, your damage taken is reduced by 15%. When you're interrupted, your next ability will cost no magicka. So, when we are in on our sweeps, guys, we are taking 15% less damage. And so, when we apply our shield, when we toppling charge in, we are very hard to kill when we're sweeping. Not only do our puncturing sweeps heal us, we're taking less damage while we're doing it. So this allows us to finish kills. So the damage is good, but that damage mitigation is also nice. So you guys saw my resistances. Some of you guys are going to be like, oh, wow, Else, your resistances aren't very high. Well, I mean, they're decently high, but we also have damage mitigation, which you cannot debuff with Spriggans or Spinners or anything like that, making this very, very valuable in my opinion. We're also running 2-piece Pirate Skeleton, which is one of the best monster sets in the game. We're running a 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy setup. So we have a heavy helmet, we have a medium shoulder, max magicka. If you guys haven't seen this set, it's right here, 2871 physical resistance and spell for the 1-piece. 2-piece, when you take damage to your health, you have an 8% chance to transform into a skeleton and gain major protection and minor defile for 12 seconds, reducing your damage taken by 30%, reducing your healing received and health recovery by 15%. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. So this almost has 100% uptime when you're 1vxing, guys. So when this goes off, it also applies to our shields, making our shields a lot harder to get through. So we are stacking damage mitigation with our Pirate Skeleton and our Cyrodiil's Light, making us very, very tanky, allowing us to go fully offensive with our other damage set, which this patch is Crafty Alfiq. Crafty Alfiq is new to the Elsweyr patch, guys. It is awesome, especially for a Magplar, basically for any magic class in the game. This is what I'm running. I could run Mechanical Acuity. I'm pretty sure Mechanical Acuity would be awesome with this build, but if I posted 3 straight builds with Mechanical Acuity, I think everybody would lose their fucking minds. So we're going to go this route for a few reasons. This gives us a bigger max magicka pool, which makes our wards a little bit better. On top of that, because we are running lower recovery, having this high sustain pool is very, very nice, guys. A bigger magicka pool means we can cast more skills, which means in a fight, when we're fighting severely outnumbered, we'll be able to last longer in general. On top of that, this buffs our purifying light. So our purifying light burst, when we're running with maybe 1 or 2 more people, if we ever decide to do that, will be more bursty than it would with Mechanical Acuity. So those are the reasons why we're running Alfiq. If you were to run Acuity, that would be fine. If you wanted to run Bright Throats with the other food, that would also be fine. Those are all very good options, but we went with Alfiq for that reason. As far as other things for this build, you guys want to go out and get this Crown Dishdasha costume. You get it in Alakir Desert in Bergama. It's one of the main quests. Go look it up. Actually, I think I might have the quest for you guys. So if you go to your journal, you go to the quests, it's Alakir Desert, Gone Missing in Bergama. You literally talk to 2 people. They give you this. It mitigates the Pirate Skeleton lag that you have completely. So you don't notice that you're going into Pirate Skeleton, which is a great part because Pirate Skeleton is really buggy. So that's why we're running this costume. That's why we look so sexy with our sweet little flower in our hair. Our champion tree, guys, 66 Warlord, 37 Siphoner, 64 Tenacity for recharging heavy attacks in case we run low, a few in the Arcanist, 51 in the Shadow Ward, 31 in the Tumbling. The reason we have points in the Tumbling, guys, is because occasionally you're going to get hit with a Negate, and you're going to get hit with a Pestilent Colossus, and you're going to want to dodge roll out of it because you can't heal while you're negated, and the Pestilent Colossus hits hard as shit. So having some points in dodge roll into Tumbling is nice. 49 LE Expert, 25 Spell Erosion, 51 Elfborn, 49 into Blessed, 21 Mastered Arms, and 75 into Thaumaturge. You need 75 into Thaumaturge for a few reasons. Number one, it buffs your sweeps. It buffs your other damage over time that affect Vampire's Bane. But you also get the Exploiter passive. Increase your damage done against off-balance enemies by 10%. Toppling Charge gives you off-balance. So these two things coincide with each other, giving you more damage, making you more bursty this patch than you were in the past. Now we have access to off-balance, and we have access to Minor Force, giving us 20% more damage than we had in the past when we crit and when we set somebody off balance, respectively. 61 in Ironclad, 57 in a Resistant, 43 Hardy, 43 LE Defender, 11 in a Thick Skinned, 32 into Quick Recovery, 23 into Bastion. You could take some more out of here and put it in here. That's up to you. Honestly, I think either way is fine. Now, some of you guys are going to ask, well, you don't have any entropy, and sometimes you use tripods. Why are we not putting as much of a preference on major sorcery? Now, when we look at our character sheet, guys, our overall damage is a combination of our max magicka and our spell damage. Our spell damage is low. Major sorcery gives us 20% more spell damage. So that means we get roughly 380 more spell damage with major sorcery. When you add low spell damage, you add 20% on top of low spell damage, it's not a big difference in our overall stats, guys. So if we look at our puncturing sweeps, we see we do 3581 magic damage, unbuffed, 3581. When we hit with our major sorcery, we're hitting for 3802. So yes, we do hit harder, but we hit 220 harder, guys. That is less than 10%. More, that's less than 10%. That is what? 220, that's about 6% harder with major sorcery, guys, with this build. Because our max magic is such a huge part of our damage, it is only roughly a 6% damage change to our overall damage going from major sorcery to not. Now, absolutely, guys, if you can sustain with major sorcery, that's what you want to do. That's what I'm doing with this build. But major sorcery is not going to make or break your build with this setup. Now, and the other reason we don't run it is all these skills are better and more important. Harness Magicka is a better skill than Entropy. So is Channeled Focus, so is Race Against Time, so is Honor the Dead, so is Extended Ritual. All those utility skills are way better than buffing our damage by 200 on our puncturing sweeps. All these damage skills come in very handy for our sustain, for our snares, for our damage over time, for our burst, for our gap closer, also giving us 10% more damage, and our spammable. So there's just, although entropy would be nice, it's not as important on this build, guys. And so if you're running a crafty Alfiq high magicka low spell damage build, you just don't, it's just not as important. So that's why we're doing that for those of you guys that are going to ask. Went through the CP, I went through the skills. As far as the build goes, guys, like I said, it feels very nice. The sustain is really easy. We can move around very quickly. We hit hard. And we also just can get in and out of the fight now because we have access to Major Expedition. It is no longer the way it was in the past where you can, misform. Misform always felt a little clunky. Like you'd have to come out of misform blocking so that you wouldn't take a ton of damage, and then you would go on the offensive. Now it's like I'm on the back bar, I buff this, I pop my ward, I gap close in, and we're just freaking one-shotting everybody with our gap closer, guys. That's just the way it is right now. Like that, we are just beasts. And so what we're going to do is we're going to hit with our Reflective Light, we're going to hit with our Purifying Light, we're going to gap close in, we're going to hit our sweeps, and we're just going to melt people. And that's just the way the build goes in general, guys. Like it's very nice. We have a very high stat pool. It's really easy to sustain. And he's going to try and do that. We can toppling charge on top of him to interrupt. And yeah, it feels good. So that's going to be the end of the build, guys. I do have some clips for you. I wanted to walk you through some of the things and show you a couple of other things. Oh, as far as another skill you can run in your back bar, over harness, I did try meditate, guys. I did try using deep thoughts, and deep thoughts is a pretty good skill, especially with Cyrodiil's Light. When you get bashed out of this, your next skill costs no magicka. So when you're recovering and somebody bashes you out of it, your Breath of Life costs no magicka. And so that's actually really nice. Our sustain when using this goes through the roof. So I'm just going to show you my stamina pool. We're going to get it down to 0. When we go into deep thoughts, you'll see our sustain just shoot up. So we get major protection while we're in this. It coincides very well with Cyrodiil's Light, makes us tanky. You know, it's a good skill. But it wasn't as good for our sustain as Harness Magicka was, and I will show you that in the clips. So that's why I took that off. That's why I put Harness Magicka on. Harness Magicka is just, it's just an overperforming skill that's been overperforming for a few years now. I'm not expecting it to ever change. It's just, it gives us good sustain and it makes us tanky, and that's just the way it is this patch. So, yeah. If you guys have any questions, please comment in the section below. With that being said, we're going to dive into the clips. Alright guys, so this first fight happens outside of Karmala. Yellows were sieging the keep. Me and this blue tried to show up in time to defend it. We didn't. They closed the door, and there's about 8 to 10 of them. We were fighting about 10 minutes before this, guys. And so it was us 2 versus the 10 of them at the front door. We fought there. We killed all the ads, and then the ads ended up coming back. And so now we had to fight off to the side because we didn't want to deal with the negates. That's the preface to this. We're still fighting them. And so that's why my resources start off so low here. You saw earlier I hit him with a 14.9k Honor the Dead. Our heals are great. We're just going to buff up. We're going to keep our runes down. We're going to keep purifying. We're just going on the defensive here. Now, I didn't know this guy, but when you're fighting a group this big, you really want to just try and go on the offensive together. We would have been able to coordinate a lot better if we were in a chat, obviously, but we do what we can. He said get close to one another, meaning that he was going to go with an ulti dump. I know that now. I didn't know that then. So I just backed up to him to try and get him heals and stuff, and then he went in with his permafrost. I tried to help out as much as we could. So we got 1 kill there. We take a purify there. We got a bunch of ads on us, so I decided to back up here. Just get some resources back. My Vampire's Bane hit all 3 ads and not the guy I was trying to hit. Now I'm getting bubbled. I'm getting CC'd. Now they're dropping Siege. So it's like a 2-on-10, 2-on-12, something like that. And they're now dropping Siege on us because they're just tired of our shenanigans and us bursting them down. So anytime he went in with a dizzying swing with a sub, I was toppling in with a crescent sweep. And we were getting a lot of kills at the front door, but they kept coming back. Because they stopped coming in on us here, I decided to hit my meditate, get some resources back. Some people started coming up the stairs by themselves, so I decided to push down and get some kills. He takes a really nice crescent with a dizzying swing and a sub. He's dead. We now have 3 people here. We're getting hit with Siege. They're dropping a bunch of stuff. I try to go in to help out here, but they pop a healing ult, which is very good defensively. They had a lot of healing ults. They had Earth Gore. They had Bubble going off. We're getting hit with a shield bubble. We're still getting shielded. Managed to get a nice burst there with the Dawnbreaker and the Crescent Sweep to get another person dead. I try to hit a Breath of Life here. I get negated. He's taking a bunch of damage. You see I hit him for a 10k Honor the Dead once again. Now we're going to Purify because we're low on resources. We're getting sieged. We got a couple kills though, so we're just going to go back and reset the fight. Hopefully they'll kind of push us up here. I do some line of sight, get a meditate going. I got a bunch of ads on us. They're hitting us with time stop, a bunch of other things. Bogdan comes down. They're just a very tanky group. So we're just going to sit here. We're going to line of sight a little bit. We're going to try and find targets to burst down. So I'm basically saving my stuff for when he pops his ultimate. So I topple down, take him to low health, hit him with a bunch of sweeps. This guy dies. So we get another kill there. And now this guy must have disconnected, so we get another free kill there. And now we're just going to push the siege. And he goes in pretty hard on this group, thinking that I was probably going in too. We weren't communicating while talking, obviously. I try to go in for support, but I don't really have much magicka. So all I can do at this point is just kind of tank. The ads are bashing me out of my meditate. And so I can't really do a whole lot at this point, besides like hit a couple onto the deads to try and support him to 1vx, or us to 2vx. So I pop my meditate right here, they go to the Destro ult, That gives me a little bit of magicka, but I have to back up because I can't stay in there right now because my sustain is just so bad. And you'll see it in the next fight, it's much better with Harness Magicka. But this is part of the reason why I took Meditate off, because although it is a nice skill, it slows down fights for me. And I didn't like that feeling for it. So although we can have unlimited sustain, if we kite and use it well, we can have it. But I just like being able to fight all the time. And so I took it off my bar, and this is a pretty good reason. He hits with a Dizzying Swing. I hit with my Crescent. I hit with Purifying Light. Now we're going to push down the stairs. We're going to hit this Magplar. Really nice Dawnbreaker right there to get a double kill off. 3 more people dead on the stairs. So now we're here, and we're going to go push the siege once again. We have some Magicka. We're going to hit with Ellie Drain. We're going to hit with Vampire's Bane and Purifying Light on the ads. See even another 4 or 5 in the back there with a negate. That guy decides to go inside, so we got 5 here. Almost die there, but once again, a pot plus Honor the Dead is really good. The Magplar's line of, or the Warden is line of sighting, but we have some movement speed to catch up to him now. We have Toppling Charge. He's apparently trying to light a sight, and so we hit a bunch of people with Vampire's Bane there, trying to just kind of stay with him. He slaps those guys with the Dawnbreaker. I couldn't continue with a Crescent because I got CC'd right there. Now we're getting hit with a bunch of stuff. We're out of resources once again. I decided to pop my Shield Ult here to reflect some incoming damage, get some heavy attacks off, and line of sight back up because we've literally aggroed every ad on the front porch. So I go into the Meditate right here because they're not bashing me out of it. We de-aggro the ads. They're pushing up on us. I'm getting some resources back. They're not really doing anything to him. So I put my Purify down, put my Rune down, hit with some Ellie Drain. He goes in with a Dawnbreaker. I hit this guy with a Crescent Sweep. We get that kill. I hit this guy with some sweeps. He's trying to stack shields. He's not going to survive even through the healing ultimate. He goes down. Warden Burst is fantastic, and we have Burst now as a Magplar, which is also nice. We're going to hit him with Ellie Drain. We're going to hit him with Purifying Light. We're going to start sweeping, and we're just going to put in a lot of pressure on this Magplar. They pop a barrier, which kind of ruins our chance for a burst there, so I decided to get a heavy attack off with my Lightning Staff since they were on the defensive a little bit, go for some line of sight so I can heal him up a little bit. We're going to hit Purifying Light on the front, going to hit him with a Crescent Sweep once again, but they healed through it. So I decided to drop down here, was going to hit a Meditate underneath this thing, but you'll see it kind of bugs out. Like, you see me kind of bouncing, but it didn't really go off, so managed to get the Meditate there. This guy gets hit with a Dizzy. The Warden gets a really nice kill there. They go into the Bash ultimate, so we're going to back away from the Colossus there and just hit some sweeps on these guys right here. You see the Colossus going after the Warden. I hit him with another 11k Honor the Dead. He's just not going to die as long as I have Magicka. This group is not doing enough burst damage, and with the amount of healing we both have, it's just not going to work. So he hits with a Dawnbreaker. I try to follow up with a Crescent Sweep to finish them, but it just wasn't coordinated because, you know, we're not a coordinated group. I'm just doing what I can when I see him do what he's doing. So we're going to buff up here once again. We're going to hit a Purifying Light on the front. We're just going to line of sight around the side here. And we're just going to wait for him to come around the corner and hopefully make a little push. I hit Purifying Light on the first guy. We're going to top link charge in. He takes a Dizzy. He takes another Crescent Sweep. He's dead. They're now backing up once again, so we're just going to go try and finish these guys off. We're going to top link charge in on this Magplar. We get negated. They pop a healing ult, so we have to reset the fight. So we have a 2-on-4 here. They come back out. We're just really trying to focus this Magplar because this Magplar is doing a really good job keeping the group healed. They set up Siege again. They set up a Permafrost. Our Reflective Light, plus our Purifying Light, plus our Crescent Sweep, finally downs the Magplar. So now the rest of this group is going to get finished off here. We kill that one. This one tries to go back inside. Does not make it. We get another kill. They ended up leaving the keep, guys. So they left the keep. We 2-man took the keep afterwards. They did not want to try to defend or anything like that. The keep was ours. This fight, guys, is a fight outside of Robeck, and this is with Harness Magicka, and you'll see my sustain is just much better. We got a Magplar here, so we're just going to keep dotting him up. We're going to keep our Purifying Light on. We're going to hit him with Crescent Sweep. We're going to ignore the other person and really focus the one doing the heals. Hit him with a top link charge. He's going to blow up here, and now he's dead. Now we're going to change our focus. We have a couple more people coming in, so we're going to hit with Honor the Dead. We're going to put our Harness up. Purifying Light. Crescent Sweep does a bunch of damage. I go to topple. Probably would have finished the kill if I knocked him down there, but he does a good job of dodge rolling out of it. Take a bunch of damage there, so I block cast, put my Harness back up, heal back up, keep my Harness up, and now I'm going to just keep slotting Ellie Drain on people as they come in, and keep backing up and moving forward as I need to. So we have movement speed, we have a nice gap closer. Like I said, like Magplar just feels so nice this patch. Just our ability to navigate around the battlefield. They get a really nice burst there. That was nothing to do with me. We hit this guy with Ellie Drain. We top link charge in. We hit him with a 9,500 crescent sweep, and we're just going to continue to sweep this guy down, and he dies to our punctures. Now we have a Sork here. Our Sork's going to back up. We dot him up. We hit him with Purifying Light. Go to topple in there, but he manages to get around the corner. Topple in again, and we're going to have to reapply our dots. But we get a Magplar that comes in on us, so we're going to heal to full. We're going to apply our ward, apply our Ellie Drain, Vampire's Bane, Purifying Light. We have a few more coming in. Now we're taking damage from 5 people. Luckily, we can block cast. Luckily, we can apply wards. Luckily, we have one of the best heals in the game, if not the best heal in the game, in Honor the Dead. We're getting snared. I pop my shield ulti here to negate some incoming damage and just get back to my NPCs because I'm taking a bunch of heat from these guys. You see them now all of a sudden focus on this blue, decided to come in and help me out. Focus in on this guy, top link charge in, he's dead. And now we're going to end up having a small 2vx with this other Magplar. So we're just going to slot Ellie Drain on all these guys, going to keep the rune down. He's basically face taking all of them, and I'm trying to figure out who I want to go in on here. Like which is the one I have to take out. And I decided to focus this guy. I hit him with Crescent Sweep. He puts me down. Purifying Light goes off. He goes down to really low health. Pops back to full. So we're going to reapply our combination. Reflective Light, Purifying Light. He fossilizes me. The damage just isn't as bad with Harness Magic. You see he leapt and our shield didn't even go down because we were so tanky with Pirate Skeleton and wards. We're going to Reflective Light. We're going to Toxic Blade charge in on these guys. We're going to hit with a Crescent Sweep that does a ton of damage. And then our Purifying Light ticks and we get the burst there. And now we have, we're taking a Destro ult, so we're going to put our Harness down. We're going to heal up. We're going to kill this guy. And you just see, guys, like I've never run out of magic with this combination. My magic is low because there's a few times where I really have to go on the defensive, but then it shoots back up once I get my pot. So this guy's super tanky. He's got 40k health. We're just trying to finish him because there's nobody else really to kill, and we gotta kill everybody. See a Sork over here coming in on us, or looks like a stand-based build. We're gonna hit him with Ellie Drain. Now we're getting hit by a bunch of people. We're gonna apply our harness, and we're just kind of like figuring out who we're gonna go in on and who's gonna take some damage. So got another Magplar coming in. We're going to back up. We're going to hit this guy with a Crescent Sweep. Huge damage. Another Crescent Sweep. Our Purifying Light goes off. That guy's dead. That Magplar did a really good job of coordinating his ult with my ult to get that burst off on that Magplar. Magplar's everywhere, obviously. More Purifying Light. More sweeps. Another dead body. And you just see, like, we're just in control at this point. Both of us are just very tanky. They can't do a whole lot of damage to us. Now we're just slotting Ellie Drain. Figuring out our targets. Another sweep with the Purifying Light burst, drops him down to no health. He finishes him off with the sweeps as well. We have a Sork hard casting over here. Fight's almost done, so we're just going to get Purifying Light on. We're going to top link charge in, hit him with a bunch of sweeps. We got a DK coming in with some whips. He's dead. And now we got the rest of them just running back up the stairs. And the fight is over, guys. So that is the end of the clip. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Really appreciate you guys watching it. I hope you enjoyed, why I'm running it the way I'm running it. We have movement speed, we have damage, we have sustain, we have kite ability, and we're tanky. Like, this is the full package that you want for a Magplar, in my opinion. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, please comment in the section below. I'll do my best to answer. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.